students, welcome to our channel Ultimate Success Online Tutorial. From today on we are going to start our English vocabulary building sessions, and for that we will be referring to a book called What Power Made Easy by Norman Lewis. And this book is very dependable for people who are preparing for competitive exams like CAT, SNAP, GMAT and other competitive exams. So if you want to keep updated to the lessons that we are doing, please subscribe our channel and hit the bell button to keep updated. Thank you. So let's start today's session. As we know that English is a very hybrid language, as we call it, because it is highly influenced by French, Latin and especially Greek. So today, when we are starting our vocabulary session, we will be dealing with doctors. Our first topic will be doctors, okay? The first topic will be so in this first topic, at first I will make a list of suffixes for you. So what are suffixes? Suffixes are words that can be broken to add behind a word. These suffixes individually generally do not have a meaning, but when joined with a certain word to make a complete word, they are very meaningful. The first and very common suffix that we are going to learn today is logy. Logy is a word we come across this word very often in words like biology, physiology and many other such words. So what does this suffix logy mean? Logy means the study of. So logy means the study of. So the study of something is known as logy. For example, biology. Biology is the study of living creatures. Okay? The next word is oology. Oology. So, oology is a branch of knowledge. It is a branch of knowledge like zoology, geology, means a study that is of a certain branch. It covers a certain area. It specializes in a particular topic. So that is oology. So oology is a branch of knowledge. The next suffix that we are going to learn today is logos. Logos also means the study of. Like logy, logy basically comes from logos. So logos is more of the mother word and logy comes from logos. So logos means the study of. The study of or the science of. So the next suffix that we are going to learn today is IC. IC, like Vedic, Tantric, etc. These words not actually relate to our topic, but I'm just giving you examples because these are very common words. So IC basically talks about something that is relating to, like obstetric, pediatric. So IC means relating to. IC is a suffix that means relating to. Okay, so next we are going to learn so our next word is IST. IST means generally comes at the end of a word, okay? As we know, all suffixes comes at the end of the word. So when IST comes at the end of a word, it generally refers to someone who expertises in a particular field. Okay, for example, scientist. One who excels in science is a scientist. So, IST, basically when the word IST comes at the end of a word, it means one who expertises. On a certain subject. So the suffix IST comes at the end of a word which indicates someone who expertises in a certain subject. Our next suffix is ologist. OLOGIST. Previously we had come across the suffix ology, right? So ology was a branch of knowledge. So ologist is someone who expertises in the branch of knowledge. As we see, ologist comes from two words, the ology and the IST. Okay, so ology is a branch of knowledge and IST is one who expertises in a subject. So they come together to form ologist. So ologist is basically someone who expertises in a certain field of knowledge. Okay, so ologist is a person who expertises in a certain field of knowledge, like zoologist, geologists, etc. So ologist is one who expertises in a certain branch of knowledge. So another suffix which is very close to the word ologist is Cian, right? CIAN. Cian is a very common suffix that we come across in very common words too. So Cian means basically an expert. The most talked about word that we have heard since our childhood days has this suffix cian in it. So can you guess the word? It's magician, right? Magician is a person who expertises in magic, right? So cian makes a person an expert in a certain thing. So cian means an expert in. So if we see cian at the end of a word, we can easily guess that the word refers to a person who excels in a certain topic or a certain subject, like magician, musician, mathematician, etc. Tertian, our next suffix is itis. Itis. Now can anybody tell me itis? When do we use itis? Itis is a word that generally comes, itis is a suffix that generally comes after words that relate to certain kind of problems that we face, like when we are having an allergy or something, like conjunctivitis, etc. So basically itis is something that causes irritation. Itis generally comes after a word which means that it causes irritation. It causes irritation. So itis, when itis comes after a word, the suffix itis, if it comes after a word, we can say that the word can deal with something that deals with irritation, that relates to the word irritation. Like if it's irritating to the eye, it causes conjunctivitis and other like hepatitis and so many other infections it causes. Then we come across a suffix which is also very common. It is kal or al. So this suffix is very similar to a suffix that we have learned previously in this list. Can you tell me which suffix it is? Yes, it is the suffix IC, right? Like Vedic and orthopedic, the suffix IC. So AL is also very similar in meaning to the suffix of IC. When we see AL at the end of a word, we can generally say that it means relating to very similar to IC, the suffix IC, or it means prone to, or likely to, or harboring, support, so when AL comes at the end of a word, the suffix AL comes after the end of a word, it generally means relating to, prone to, likely to, harboring, support for. Harboring means nourishing. Like when we really like an idea about something, when we cherish the idea of something, it means harboring, support or liking for something. Okay, so this is the final suffix in this list that I have, and I think you should go through the suffixes once before we move on to the next topic. So you can just hit the replay button and go through the list of suffixes once again. You can pause and copy the list also if you'd like. So before we move on to the next topic, there's something that I'd like to tell you. That when we talk about doctors or medicines, we understand very few things like internal medicine and external medicine. Like in certain kind of medication, it does not require us to orally take medicines, right? Like if we come across, if we happen to fall ill or something which is related to, if we have a skin infection or if we crack our lips, it doesn't require internal medication. Like we do not have to take medicines for that. We just need to apply an external medicine like a balm or something, right? So we will talk about internal, like something that is in the inside of our body. When we talk about inside of, of, we are talking about internal. Internal means things that are inside, which are inside something, like our heart, our kidneys, our digestive system, everything is in the internal part of our body. All these are internal organs, while nails, hair, nose that we can see externally are all external organs. Like the skin is an external organ, but the digestive system, the urinary system and everything, the nerves, everything is internal, right? So first we will be dealing with the topic internal. Internal means inside of. Internal means inside of. So when talking about medicines and doctors, we often come across a term, internist. And I hope that you remember in the topic of suffix that I have given you, in the list of suffix that I have given you, you have come across the suffix ist. Ist means one who expertises in something, right? So we can guess that this internist is a person, right? It deals with a person who is an expert with intern or the internal, right? So a person who is an expert of the internal things is an internist, right? A person who is an expert of the internal ongoings is an internist. Okay, so a person who deals with the internal things is known as an internist. Now we often come across a term intern, not only in the study of medicines and doctors, but in other fields as always. Often in office also we hear that somebody is being an intern before doing a job or something. So what does the word intern mean? The intern has nothing to do with the word internal, okay? An intern means a person who is learning, a person who is under training, right? So the intern is a person who is under training. So an intern is a person who is under training, and when the intern has completed his training and has joined his work and he expertises in the field where he was being an intern, when the internal qualifies and excels in the work that he was learning, he becomes a professional. What does he become? He becomes a professional. When the intern completes his learning experience of a work, he becomes a professional. So can anybody tell me? No. So if you know similar words for intern, you can obviously share them in the comments. I will give you certain examples, like somebody who is an intern can also be called a novice. A novice, a trainee, a novice, a trainee, because, and also he can be called, yes, of course, apprentice. So an intern is not a professional, right? He is a novice, he is a trainee, and he is an apprentice. That means someone who is going through the process of learning, who is not completely finished his learning experience, right? So we can also say that intern is unskilled. He is yet to develop his skill fully. So an intern is also unskilled. And that's why he is receiving the knowledge and he is learning the skills from a coach, right? We can say that the intern, the unskilled, the trainee, the apprentice, whoever it is learning the skills from a coach or a mentor. So the coach or the mentor or the coach or the mentor is training the person, is making the intern, the novice, the trainee to learn, right? The person is being a mentor to the intern. So the person who is learning, the intern, can also be called mentee. So an intern is a person who is not yet a professional. So the intern is basically a person who is not a professional, and he is not skilled. The intern is not skilled. So basically the intern is a person who is under training, right? A person who is under training is called a trainee. He can also be called a novice, he can also be called an apprentice, and he can also be called a mentee, because a mentee is being taught by his mentor, right? A mentor is somebody who is guiding us, and mentor means a coach. So an intern is someone who is new. An intern is someone who is under training. An intern is being coached. And an intern is still a student. An intern is someone who is still in the beginning of his career. So he is a beginner. So, what can we also call an intern? And we can also call an intern as a novice, because he is new. We can say that he is unskilled, because he is under training. We can say that he is under probation because he is being coached. The word probation means training. So a person who is being coached is under probation, and a person under probation is known as a probationer. Right? So an intern is someone who is new, so he is a novice. An intern is unskilled, he is under training, so he is unskilled. He is not yet a professional. He is not yet a professional, so he is an amateur. The intern is still being coached, so he is a professional. He is an apprentice. So, the intern is also a probationer. The intern is also an apprentice. The intern is also a student because he is learning the art of the work that he is learning. If he is doing an internship, that means the person is still a student. He is still in the process of education. He is still in the process of learning. So, he is a student. And what can we also call a student? We can also call a student tyro. T-Y-R-O. Tyro. Please remember this word. This is a very common and very important word. The word tyro means a student. The word tyro can also mean an intern, right? So, we can also call a student a mentee, right? M-E-N-T-E-E, because he is being guided by a mentor. We can also call a student a mentee because he is being guided by a coach or by a mentor, right? So the next, an intern is also a beginner, right? He is new to the field of work. He is still beginning to learn. That's why he is still a beginner. And what can we also call a beginner? We can also call a beginner a neophyte. Now let's look at the word neophyte. Neophyte is basically formed by the prefix neo and phyte. Alright? The word neo means someone who is new to something, right? So neo means new. An example of a word that is very similar, that also begins with neo, is Neolithic. Neolithic, right? The word neo means new and the word lithic. So what is lithic? Lithic, the word lithic comes from the Latin word lithos. L-I-T-H-O-S. When in school we used to learn in history about the Stone Age, right? So the word lithic basically means, the word lithic and lithos means stone. And the word Neolithic generally refers to the Stone Age. It refers to the new Stone Age. The word Neolithic means the new Stone Age. Also the word Paleolithic. Paleolithic. These words also can be divided into two parts. The lithic, which already you know as Stone Age, and paleo. The word paleo means new. No, sorry. The word paleo means old. So Paleolithic means old Stone Age. So the word intern can also mean a neophyte. The word neo means new. Similar words starting, it's not exactly similar words. Words starting, some examples of words starting with neo is Neolithic. The Neolithic means new Stone Age. A word similar to this is Paleolithic. Paleolithic means old Stone Age, right? Also, there is a word, I would like you to guess the meaning before I tell you the answer. The word is The word is paleontologist, right? Who can, if I would like you to type a comment as in guessing the meaning of the word paleontologist before you go ahead with the video. So please pause and comment on what you guess is the meaning of the word paleontologist before you go through the video, right? And see what I tell as the meaning. So the word paleontologist, okay? The word paleontologist is basically, first let's go through the word logist. We have already seen the suffix logist before, ologist before, right? Ologist is a person who is an expert in a certain branch or a certain subject. So basically, this we can understand that paleontologist refers to an expert of something, an expert on paleon. Now what are paleon? Paleon is basically fossils. So paleontologist is an expert of fossils, right? A paleontologist is an expert of fossils. What are fossils? Fossils are basically remains of organic things buried under the stone for millions of years. Fossils are remains of organic things like plants, animals, or any other organic things that have been buried under the earth, under the stone for millions of years, right? And these fossils, when they age more and more and more, they come to form mineral, gas and petroleum, etc. So paleontologist means the expert of fossils. Before we proceed forward, I have a question for you. Can you guess the meaning of physician? Does it mean an expert in physics or does it mean an expert in physiology? So please go down in the comments, write your answer and go ahead with the video. The correct answer for the meaning of physician is an expert in physiology. Right? An expert in physiology is a physician. A physician is not an expert of physics. The expert of physics is a physicist. The expert of physics is physicist and an expert of physiology is a physician. Now, who is a physician? A physician is normally referred to as a doctor. A doctor. A physician is normally called a doctor. And why is a physician called a doctor? Because a physician is an expert in physiology. Now, what is physiology? Physiology is the study of the human body. So physiology is basically a study of the human body or the human anatomy. Okay? So a physician is an expert of the human anatomy. A doctor is also called a physician, right? Now, there are basically two main kind of doctors that we generally go to, right? One is a general doctor, right? A person who we can consult for any kind of illness as a basic consultation. So a general doctor has an MBBS degree. A general doctor has an MBBS degree. That is, you can go to an MBBS doctor for a general health checkup. You have a heart, you have a chest pain, you have cough, you have fever, anything, you can go to a general doctor, and if he sees that there are complications in any field, then he will refer you to a specialist or a surgeon. A specialist So a general doctor, when he sees some complications in your health that requires expert opinion, he will send you to a specialist or a surgeon who has an MD. Okay? So an MD is a master in his subject. Like a person who has an MD specializes in a certain field, like a person who specializes in heart diseases and its treatment is a cardiologist. A person who deals with the study and cure of womanly diseases is a gynecologist, etc. Now, we can also see a clinician. There is a word, clinician. Now, who is a clinician? So, a clinician is a doctor who deals face to face with his... A clinician is a doctor who deals face to face with his patients and depends on his own theoretical knowledge and expertise than on laboratory studies, etc. So a clinician is a doctor who So a clinician is basically a doctor who depends more on his theoretical knowledge and experience in the clinic, that is by meeting his patients face to face and evaluating his symptoms and treating them. Especially abroad, the doctors are heavily dependent on technology that aid them in the treatment of patients. But in India, not much technology is available, and hence the doctor mostly relies on his knowledge and experiences for the diagnosis of a disease and its treatment. So they are clinicians. So a clinician has more experience while dealing with patients face to face, and he relies less on pathology and other stuff. Okay, because in rural India mostly a lot of technologies are not available, unlike the urban India and other parts of the world. So now we will be discussing the different types of doctors that we consult from time to time. Now when we talk about the doctors for women and children, the first thing that comes to our mind is a gynecologist, a gynecologist. So the first thing that comes to our mind after we hear about doctors of women and children, the first thing that comes to our mind is the word gynecologist. A gynecologist is a doctor who is specially skilled to deal with diseases that happen peculiarly to women. Okay, so diseases that happen only to women mostly. Okay, the word gynecology has its origin in the Greek Latin word. The Greek word gyne. The Greek word gyne means a woman. So the word gynecologist comes from the word gyne. The word gyne means woman. So a specialist who deals with women, who deals with diseases that are specifically womanly in nature or that happen only to women is known as a gynecologist. Okay? A doctor who specializes So a gynecologist is a doctor who deals with women's diseases. The next thing is an obstetrician. An obstetrician is a doctor who is skilled and practiced in the study of obstetrics. Obstetrics generally deals with the study of a woman's pregnancy and the process of her childbirth and other surgery related to the abdomen, the lower abdomen especially. So a physician or a surgeon who specializes in obstetrics. So again, a gynecologist is a doctor who specializes in diseases peculiar to women, and an obstetrician is a doctor who deals with the surgery and specifically pregnancy, etc. Okay? So what is the difference between a gynecologist and an obstetrician? The difference is not very much. In India, if we go to a gynecologist, we often find that the doctor has both the qualifications of a gynecologist and an obstetrician. So we don't have to really face any issues about consulting different doctors for the different situations. Now, these obstetricians also specialize in childbirth. Okay, So an obstetrician is a gynecologist who specializes in the process of childbirth. Alright, the word gyne means a woman. In Greek, the word gyne means woman. Now, let's stray a bit from this. If we come across a word in the question paper, suppose we come across the word misogynist. Suddenly in the question paper we come across the word misogynist. Okay, so we can try to attempt it, can we? Because we already have the hint of the word jinn. So again, the word jinn is similar to the word jinn over here. So which means it has to be something related to woman. And the word ist generally refers to a person who harbors a certain feelings or expertises in. And the word miss. When we see the word miss in front of a letter, in front of a word as a prefix, it generally gives us a very negative vibe about the word, like misunderstandings, etc. So basically, the word misogynist refers to a person who hates women. So the word misogynist refers to a person who hates women or females. Also, there's a similar word like misogyny. A similar word to misogyny is a word called polygyny. Polygyny. Okay. So if we are completely new to the word polygyny, what we can do is try to understand the word by breaking it. We can divide the word into two parts, poly and gyny. Okay? Gyny, as we know, is a suffix that refers to women. What does the word poly mean? Does it strike any bells? The word poly, does it strike any bells? Yes, of course. It is very similar to the word polygon. So what does poly mean? Poly means multiple. The word poly means multiple. Like there are many sides in a polygon. The word poly means multiple. Here we see that the word polygyny is basically made of two words, two meaningful parts. One is multiple and one is women. Okay, so multiple women. Polygyny means a man. Polygyny refers to a man who has multiple female partners. The word polygyny refers to a man who has multiple female partners. The word poly means multiple and the word gyny means women. Now you can ask me a very obvious question. What is the female counterpart of the word polygyny? Okay, what would a woman who has multiple relationships with men called? Or the practice of having multiple relationship or the practice of a woman having multiple relationship with males called? The word for that is polyandry. The word polyandry refers to a woman who has multiple female, no, of course not. The word polyandry refers to a woman who has multiple male partners. So a few examples of polygyny is, or a few examples of people who are known to have practiced polygyny are King Solomon, King Dashrath, and the woman who has multiple male partners. The obvious example is Draupadi. Okay, the next we are going to talk about the doctors for children. The doctors for children. So what are the doctors for children called? The common term for the doctors for children is a pediatrician. But before pediatrician, we will talk about a neonatologist. Now, what is a neonatologist? The word neonatologist is formed by basically can be broken into three parts. The word neo, nato, and logist. The word neo, nat, and ologist. I have already given you the list of suffixes in which you have already come across the word ologist. So who is an ologist? An ologist is a person who expertises in a certain branch of study, right? So the ologist means a person who expertises in a certain branch of studies. And you have already come across the word neo, which means new. So let's see what this makes. New So we are already familiar with the word neo and ologist. What is the word that is new to me? Which is the part that is new to us? The word nat. The word nat here has been derived from the word natal. Okay. So basically the neonatologist deals with, the neonatologist is a person who is a specialist in dealing with the new natal, right? The word natal. What is the meaning of the word natal? The word natal means at the time of birth. Okay, so the word natal means at the time of birth. So a neonatologist is a doctor. The neonatologist is a specialist who is a doctor of just born babies. Okay, the neonatologist is a doctor of just born babies. Okay, it often happens that just after childbirth, some kids have problems. There are often complications during the childbirth which complicates the health of the baby. So the specialist who deals with the babies at that time, just after birth, just after the childbirth, is a neonatologist. Okay, so next comes the pediatricians. After neonatologist comes pediatrician. So what is the difference between a neonatologist and a pediatrician? The difference is very slight. Both deal with babies, but the pediatrician deals with babies who are slightly older than the just born. Okay, so a neonatologist only deals with children who are just born, and the pediatrician deals with babies henceforth, like from a few days older at times, a few months older. So a pediatrician is a doctor who deals with children and not just newborn babies. Okay, the pediatrician is a doctor who deals with children and not just newborn babies like the neonatologist. Okay, so let's study the word pediatrician in a little bit more detail now. The word pediatrician has its origin in Greece. Okay, it is basically a Greek Latin word. This word can be can be broken down into three parts for a better understanding. Okay, the word pedi has been derived from the Greek word. The word pedi has been derived from the Greek word pados. Okay, this means child. R3 here has been taken from the word IATREIA, Itria. It is also a Greek word which means medical healing. And Sian we have already seen as a suffix before in that list. It means an expert, right? So the word pediatrician is basically the word pediatrician can easily be summarized as child medical healing expert, right? A doctor who So pediatrician is a child medical healing expert. He is a doctor who cures and diagnoses children. Okay. Now that we have come across this word pedos, what are the different derivatives of this word? Pedos can also be derived as PEDA. Peda. There's a brand very similar to the word that we often see on TV in advertisement. It's called Pediasure. I think you have heard of that. The word pedia in there means child. It comes from the word pados, right? So it can also be derived in form of peda, and it forms a word pedagogy, right? No, that's not how we pronounce it. We pronounce it as pedagogy. We don't pronounce this as pedagogy. We pronounce it as pedagogy. Okay? Now what does this mean? Peda, we already know. What does it mean? It means child. And what does the word goji mean? Goji is a Greek word that comes from agogos. Okay? So peda here means child, and agogos means leading. So a person who leads the child means a person who helps in the development of the child is a pedagogist. Okay? So pedagogy means leading the child to his development. And the person who is leading the child to his development is a pedagogue. No, again we are wrong. The word is pedagogue. What is it? Pedagogue. It's not pedagogy, it's pedagogy. And the word here is pedagogue, not pedagogue. Alright? What does the word pedagogue means? Pedagogue here means the leader of a child. And who usually do we see as the leader of a child? The teacher. Yes. A person who is leading the child to his or her development is a pedagogue. So we can also call a pedagogue a teacher. Okay? Now that we have learned the word pedagogue, we have come across another suffix over here. Yes, the suffix is agog, coming from agogos. It means leading. Okay, so we have already come across the word pedagogue, pedagogue. We have already come across the word pedagogue, which means the leader of children, right? Now we are going to learn a new word. What is it? The word is demagogue. Okay. The word God, as we already know, means a leader. Okay. we already know that the word gauge means leader. What does the word dema indicate? The word dema comes from a Greek word again. The word is demos. Okay. Demos means people. Okay. So demagogue comes from a Greek word meaning demos, and it means leader of people. In India, we can say, so the word demagogue means leader of people. Demagogue. The word demagogue means leader of people. Gauge means leader, dema means people. Another word very similar to the word demagogue is democracy. Our country, India, is a democracy. The word dema means people, and the word crazy means government. Okay, so a people's government is called a democracy. Okay, so agogos means leading, pedagogue means a leader of children or a teacher. Pedagogue means a leader of children or a teacher. Demagogue means leader of people. The word dema means people and gauge means leader. So a demagogue is a leader of people, and democracy. Demo means people and crazy means government. A people's government therefore is known as a democracy. So guys, I hope you liked the video, and the part 2 of this vocab relating to doctors is coming very soon. And if you like the video, please hit the like button, and in the comments let us know how you like it or how we can improve these further, and click the bell button so that you get regular notifications, and also subscribe to our channel. Thank you. Keep learning, keep sharing. Bye bye.